Welcome to this week's Let's Talk About It discussion, where every Sunday we talk about a different topic and how it affects the Black community economically. And for the last 8 or 9 sessions, we've been talking about different strategies. Um, I went over the 7 strategies that I believe for Black economic power, ranging from Bitcoin to gold to tech stocks. This week is going to be a little different. We're going to talk about the CPIN Toolkit, which is available within the CPIN members only area. But as always, let's start with the disclaimer. So the information provided is strictly for educational purposes only. Strongly encourage you to consult with licensed financial advisors before making any significant investments. And though I do have decades of experience, I am not licensed or registered with any regulatory authority. And with that, we're going to jump right into the introductory video.
So today, we're going to dive into a financial tool set that's designed to do one thing: replace all that financial guesswork with a clear, personalized path to your goals. Let's take a look at how it actually works.
You know the feeling, right? You're staring at spreadsheets, trying to make sense of all the conflicting advice out there. It feels like you're just wandering in the dark. But what if it didn't have to be that way?
Just imagine for a second having a system that takes your life, your unique goals, and even your personal comfort level with risk, and then turns all of that into a concrete, step-by-step plan, a real roadmap. Well, that's the whole idea behind the CPTIN Financial Independence Tool Set. It's not just one tool, it's actually a set of 4 tools that are all integrated. They're designed to work together to guide you from where you are right now, all the way to where you want to be. Okay, so the whole process is broken down into 4 super logical steps. First, we're going to build your financial foundation. Then, we'll figure out your personal investment style. After that, we calculate your big target number. And finally, we chart the course to actually get you there. Let's start at the very beginning. Everything, and I mean everything, starts with this first tool, the financial expense budget. You can't really plan a journey if you don't know your starting point. And in the world of finance, that means knowing exactly what it costs you to live your life. The tool gives you all these comprehensive categories to make sure, nothing gets missed, from the big stuff like housing down to your daily coffee run. But, and this is key, these are just here to get you started. And this right here, this is the most important thing to get. You'll see example numbers in the tool, but its real magic happens when you plug in your own expenses. This isn't about some generic plan. It's about building a plan that's 100% tailored to you. All right, so we've got the budget handled. The next step is all about making sure your investment strategy actually fits your personality. And that's where the second tool, the risk tolerance assessment, comes into play. Think of it like your own personal investment compass. So you answer a few quick questions about how you feel about investing, your timeline, things like that, and the tool gives you a score. In this example, we get a 4.5, which points to a moderate to aggressive investor. And that number isn't just pulled out of thin air, right? It comes directly from your answers. But here's where it gets really powerful. That score isn't just a label. It becomes something you can actually use. It gets mapped to a target for your cash flow return on investment, your ROI. So in this case, that 4.5 score translates to an 18% target. It directly connects your personality to a hard number you can aim for.
All right, this is the big one. This is the aha moment of the whole process. Now that we have our expenses from the first tool and our target ROI from the second one, we can use tool 3 to calculate the single most important number here, your financial independence number, or what we call your FIN.
The whole thing starts with the number that came out of the first tool, your total annual expenses. For this example, it's about $39,500. But remember, when you do it, this is going to be your specific number. We take that number, your annual expenses, and we're going to divide it by that target cash flow ROI that we figured out from your risk assessment. For this person, that's 18%. And boom, that simple little bit of math gives us our financial independence number. For this example, it's just under $220,000. And just like that, a vague goal like becoming financially free turns into a concrete, calculated destination. So what does this number actually mean? Well, your FIN is the total amount of income-producing assets you need so that they can generate enough cash every year to cover your expenses. It's the finish line, really. It's the point where your assets are paying for your lifestyle. So you know your destination. Awesome. But how do you actually get there? That's what the final tool is all about. It's called the Asset Accumulation Plan, and it lets you run all sorts of scenarios to map out your journey to that fin. And what's so cool here is you can play with the numbers. Let's look at this scenario. Someone's starting with basically nothing. They plan to invest $12,000 a year, and they want to hit their fin of around $220,000 in just 5 years. The tool can help answer the question, okay, what kind of return do I need to pull that off? And look at this. The tool calculates they'd need a staggering 68% annual ROI. Whoa. That instantly tells you that a 5-year timeline is probably not realistic unless they seriously up their investment amount. And right there, that's the power. It makes the trade-offs between your time, your money, and your returns totally crystal clear. So when you put all 4 of these tools together, what do you really get out of it? Well, it really just boils down to these 3 things: clarity about where you're going, confidence in how you're getting there, and control over your financial future. This means you walk away with a personalized target that's yours, not some generic number. You can play around with different life plans, see exactly what the trade-offs are, and you can start to evaluate opportunities with some real, genuine confidence. And you know, maybe the best part of all of this, running through this entire process might only take you a few minutes, but the clarity you get from it, that can be your guidepost, informing your financial decisions for years and years to come. So that really brings us back to you. And the most important question of all, once you get rid of the guesswork, once you have a clear destination and a map to get there, what does your unique path to financial independence actually look like?
All right. So that was a brief overview of the financial independence toolkit. I'm going to go over, a quick 5-minute presentation, then we're going to jump right into using the actual tool. So this is a members only toolkit. You need to be a member of the CPIN in order to get access to it. The toolkit it allows you to create a realistic budget, and you can have different budget scenarios. It allows you to assess your risk tolerance. And once you do those 2 things, it helps you calculate your financial independence number. And then once you know where your destination is, then you can plan how you're going to get there through your asset accumulation plan. So there's 4 tools working together. So it all starts with the financial expense budget. There are comprehensive expense categories. You put in your monthly totals, and then it calculates what the annual amount would be. And that becomes, and you can set up, again, different budget scenarios. Then you walk through the risk tolerance assessment. It asks you 10 different questions, 10 different scenarios, and it will score you between 1 to 5, and then it converts that into a cash flow ROI. And then those 2 numbers, your expense budget and the risk tolerance, the cash flow ROI, is then plugged into the financial independence equation to calculate your financial independence number. And then you can develop your asset accumulation plan by scenario planning, how much you're going to invest each year, how many years, and what's the return on investment that you plan to get on average per year. So financial expense budget, risk tolerance assessment, This is what the equation looks like. Again, annual expense budget divided by the cash flow ROI gives you your financial independence number. And then your asset accumulation plan has 3 different modes. Annual investment mode, where you can calculate how much you need to put away each year. Time required mode helps you determine how many years are needed for a given annual investment in the ROI, or the annual ROI required mode based on a given yearly investment and time. So let's jump right into what this looks like. So when you log into your dashboard, you're going to click here on your name, and it's going to pull up your profile menu, and you're going to click the financial independence tool. You can also click it from the dashboard where on the card Financial Independence Toolkit. Then it's got your instructions. So the first thing you want to do is complete the expense budget, then the risk tolerance assessment. Then it'll give you your financial independence equation and your FIN number, and then you can develop your asset accumulation plan. So let's look at what this budget looks like. So you can either create a new budget, in which it starts with a blank budget. You can name the budget, and then you can put in these monthly expenses with these different categories: housing, transportation, food and dining, healthcare. It's got all these categories, and it's even have a miscellaneous. Or you can pull up an existing one. So I've done 3 budgets here, for example. So I'll pull out the out of country budget. And so you'll see that I've put in different dollar amounts based on me living outside of the country. And I'll update the budget, save it, and then I can come back and I can choose it. Again, it's pre-populated. And so, and you can do this with different budget scenarios. So you can have a budget that's a lot more extensive. You can have one that's more conservative, but let's stick with the out of country budget for now. Risk tolerant assessment. So what you do is you answer these 10 questions, and you rate each question from 1, which is most unlikely to participate, up to 5, most likely to participate. And it gives you these different scenarios, such as investing in a startup company, and it gives a very specific scenario: taking out a loan to start a business, investing in cryptocurrency, buying rental property with leverage, quitting a stable job for a higher paying but less secure position, investing in individual stocks or index funds, taking on debt to invest in the stock market, investing in international markets, buying options and future contracts, investing in alternative assets. And once you answer all those questions, it'll give you an average risk score from 1 to 5, and it converts that into a cash flow ROI that you can save your assessment. So now you've got a budget loaded, you've got your cash flow ROI. So when you scroll back up here to the top, now you've got your financial independence equation. And so it takes your annual expense budget divided by your cash flow ROI, and it comes up with your financial independence number. Okay. So now that you have your destination, you need to accumulate $220,000. You can either create a new plan, which is the default. And for creating a new plan, you would enter in these variables. And so if first ask you what you want to calculate, either the annual amount you need to invest, the investment time, or the annual ROI required. So let's say we're starting from 0 and you've got 20 years for investing. And your annual ROI during this time is 15%. And so what it tells you is that you need to invest $2,000 per year. If you were to change the years to 15, then it tells you need to invest $4,600. If you change your ROI to 20%, it changes the investment amount. So if you go 10% in 15 years, you need to invest $7,000 in order to hit your FIN number. And then you can save that. If you want to calculate the time in years based on an annual investment, say you're going to invest $6,000 a year, $500 a month, at an annual ROI of 10%, means it would take you 17 years. If you change that ROI to 20%, it cuts it down to 12 years. And then you can calculate what the annual ROI that's required. So again, using the same scenario, $6,000 a year, we'll say you got 10 years. It says that your ROI needs to be 27%. If you change that to 20, you only need a 6% ROI. So it's very flexible, and you can save the plan. I've got a couple of plans that are already loaded here, and it shows based on a FIN of $436,000. If I want to reach that time in 10 years at an ROI of 40%, I need to invest $6,200 per year. So, Timothy, I think it's just me and you. Oh no, other people have joined. So that was a quick overview of the tool, but I encourage everybody to log in to their CPIN, and then again, click on your name and then click on Financial Independence Toolkit, enter in your budget, take the risk assessment, and to determine what your financial independence number is, and then play around with the asset accumulation plan. So I know I went over it rather quickly, but I'm open to answer any questions that you guys may have.
Yes, this is Leroy.
Hey, Leroy.
I really enjoyed this exercise. I guess about 3 or 4 months ago. It really opened my mind to where I was and where I was going, where I am going. And it made some assessments. Sometimes I get a little wild in terms of opportunities that are available for me that don't always materialize. So I had to go back to to the table and look at possibilities. But my major point is that this exercise, the real exercise, was an eye-opening experience for me, and I want to personally express that.
Thank you. Thank you. And also, I want to let me go into one more section of the website. So in the Knowledge Center, under Essential Lessons, there is the Financial Independence Workshop. And so I recommend everybody take this course. It goes into more detail about what is financial independence. It helps you understand how the financial independence number is calculated, how the relationship is between your annual investment, the number of years that you invest, and your ROI, your return on investment. It's about a 15-minute video. And so I recommend that you, if you haven't taken this class already, that you take it. It'll give you better clarity before actually using the tool. Any other questions or comments? Timothy?
These are excellent products, and you've done a good job of giving people a framework. I have to be honest, as much as I have been a long time investment manager and asset manager of a lot of money, I never follow this stuff because I'm on that old poor boy routine, right? In other words, like a dollar in a dream lottery ticket. But I have to tell you, this is very good planning, and I will pass it on to people who really are stable. In other words, they have a job. You're counting on your job or your income to do this, whereas a lot of entrepreneurs are just sort of trying to make things break, right? And see if you can make it and sustain your business, and not think about these opportunities. Now, for me personally, it's called pay off the house, pay off the house, pay off 2 cars, and have enough money so that you can pay your bills each month as they come due. That's really what it amounts to. And so, especially when you're old. So, and it's hard to get there. Sometimes, you know, people lose their jobs. I mean, look at all the people in the government. That was the thing when I was coming up, was get a job working for the government. You always have a job.
Yeah.
Okay. And all of my relatives who believe that, the young ones, all of them are laid off. so, so, and I told them, so you should have gone to law school. You could have done better off. So anyway, it's a good tool. It's a good product. I think you need to spread it around and make sure people get it. It should be taught in churches, to be quite frank. On a Sunday night service, it should be taught in churches, because this is what our people need more than running around and hallelujah and running around. They need this to elevate them. Now, it might mess up some pastors because you're messing with their money, but your program also includes that. You can make some offerings and tithes, because your program includes that in there as part of your objective, and they need to know that. But this is a very important thing. The last thing is in this is that I'd like to see a more of a personal insurance product included in that as you develop it, with a big emphasis on or not a big emphasis, but an emphasis on life insurance early on. I didn't know anything about that. I'm from Chicago, and we came out the hood. And when we paid $5 a month for life insurance, sometimes we'd have the $5. My mama be telling me, "Get on the floor, don't say nothing. He's at the door. Don't go. He's the bill collector's here for the insurance." Not knowing that we paying him, but we act like we owe him. So we didn't know that. So I grew up not knowing about life insurance, right? And by the time I learned it, I was too old to really get where I should get, the level I should get it at. So, but then I met all these people. I went to a function here down south, and all the people had life insurance. They all knew about it, right? So here I am going to all these schools, but all the people down south here knew about life insurance. And so I'm just saying, I'd like to see that as a component because, it's a way of obviously building wealth. And it's a very important element that a lot of us just don't know about. Anyway, thank you, Michael. You always do a great job.
Thanks. Thanks a lot. And so this financial independence toolkit is just meant to give you a framework for understanding what it is you're trying to accomplish, right? Your financial independence number. And I made it pretty straightforward and pretty simple. It's a very conservative number because it's the amount of income producing assets that you need to accumulate to generate enough cash flow to cover the way you want to live, right? And it assumes that you just live off the interest, that you never use any of the principal that you accumulate. So it's great for generational wealth planning. It's great because it's ultra conservative when when your investments aren't doing as well, and if you do have to get into your principal, it doesn't wreck your entire plan. But the most important thing is it gives you a number to shoot for. So that's the very first thing, and it's very flexible because we go through life stages, right? And the expense budget that you put in should really be one that, what is it? How do you want to live when you quote unquote retire, when you don't have to work and you've got enough assets that are generating enough cash flow for you. So you should base your expense budget on that so you can find out what your financial independence number is. And hopefully over time, as you gain more experience, as you're better educated financially, your risk tolerance will also change. And so at the very beginning, when you answer the questions to the risk assessment, you may have one set of answers that might give you a low risk tolerance and therefore a low cash flow ROI versus after you've taken a few of the courses, after you've invested in some different types of assets and you've gained some experience, and you retake the risk assessment, hopefully your answers will change and your risk tolerance will increase because you know how to manage risk better. And so that's what I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to educate. I'm trying to give people the tools to make better informed decisions, and then trying to give you some curated investment opportunities where we can put our money together and invest in opportunities that we may not be able to invest in separately. So with that, this is just a quick demonstration. Again, I encourage everybody to log in, play around with the tool. You have any questions, always feel free to shoot me an email. And I'm always available to answer, available to schedule, a one-on-one Zoom meeting with you to go over your specific questions and your specific situation. And with that, go ahead, Leroy.
Yes, I see Sally. I wanted to ask her a quick question with reference to Burkina Faso, how the plan is going, if she didn't mind sharing.
Oh, good evening, everyone. Yes, everything's going well, actually. We just had our last meeting yesterday. Just moving forward, we will be leaving out. I'll be leaving out on Saturday, going. We had a lot of Yeah, I think, when something is happening, that truly is supposed to happen, and the powers that be, try to find every little thing or cause problems down the road. We did have an issue with, because we started out, we were going to be getting our citizenship, and I guess when Captain Traore had, mentioned that, it's open citizenship for anyone of African descent. So, they really got a big response to that. Just with my organization alone, we had upwards, I guess, like close to 500 people. And another company that we were going to be working with, they had up to about the same. So there was like we were going to be descendant on um, their country over the weekend, like with 1,000 people. So, their parliament said, pump the brakes. We still want to offer citizenship, but we're going to give everybody a chance to come in, learn that people will do a permanent residency. And if this is a good fit for you and your family, after 5 years, then you can get, apply for your citizenship, and we can go there. Um, and which to me I think makes better sense, because when you kind of open your borders, although they're all our people, but we have learned, unfortunately, that all skin folk ain't kinfolk. And we don't have to kind of like be kind of careful with, everybody just kind of making a mad dash. So with that, there was, a lot of back and forth with people that were hurt by that, and then you had a lot of people that was putting a lot of things out in the on the internet and socials. What is that? On
Social
the
media.
internet? Yeah, there you go. Um, so a lot of it, with a lot of negative connotation. So we weathered through that, and we had the ambassador from immigrations, come and talk with us, kind of try to help, get guide us through what was going on with that. They still offering, like I said, citizenship, but it's going to be like 5 years. You can do that, and it's still they with everyone on the Sahel region in that area there. You have free visas, so you don't have to pay to go and visit other countries or do something there. Because I have property in Ghana, which is like 30 minutes away from there by flight. So that works out really well for me. And another thing that works out really well is that um, I'm getting closer to retirement, so I can have my citizenship there, whereas it would cost me a lot more. It didn't cost me anything to get my permanent residency, but it would have cost me in Ghana, and it would have taken me a little bit longer. So it's going to work out for me, and I can still, get my retirement check whenever that gets started. So, but so far so good. Everybody, we're getting excited about doing that. We are taking donations over there, working with the people there, trying to help them build and develop. That still gives us getting the permanent residency. The only difference that is going to be for us is the fact that yes, we don't have a Burkina Faso passport and we can't vote. But other than that, everything else, all the opportunities that's available will still be there as far as investing, opening, checking account, whatever, just to kind of save money there, purchase land, all that is still available for us. Mhm,
Thanks a lot.
mhm.
Well, thank you for the update, Sally.
Surely.
And we wish you the best on your trip. You'll be gone for what, 2 weeks?
2 weeks, yes. Thank you.
And and we're definitely looking forward to hearing how your trip goes when you come back.
Absolutely. And, and one of the main things, like I said, is to, kind of look at some of the different sectors that, will be available to us. So, we did have a speaker from their that department that handles all of that. with all the different sectors that's available for investing, if, that's something of interest. Only thing I was not, I couldn't afford to go to just a trade fair as well. The main thing that I was really interested in is going to be able to speak with the elders that's coming, PLO Lumumba and Reverend Mapanga, and of course, Dr. Arikana Chiambari Kwao. And we're supposed to have a surprise guest, but I'm interested in hearing their take on some of the things and strategies that we can be working together, the continental Africa as what Africans as well as the diasporans, so that we can try to get through this hardship that we're all going through it on the continent as well as here. And that seemed like that has always been. If you look at history, we seem like we were always going through liberation period or somewhere around the same time. So, just kind of get some feedback on what, some good ideas to kind of help us all get through this process.
Amen. Amen. Well, are there any other questions or comments?
A message to Timothy. I believe you're in Atlanta, right?
Yes, I am.
Okay, I'm in Atlanta. I look forward to connecting with you sometime and brainstorming.
Anytime, and my email address is timothy.holly@gmail.com. And
At
that's
Gmail?
at gmail.com. Timothy.holly@gmail.com. Hit me up and I'll call you.
Okay.
We can Zoom, we can get together and stuff like that. Yes.
Sounds good.
And so, and Sally, I got a question for you about security in Burkina Faso.
Mhm.
Because you're not a native, you're coming in as an outsider that will become somebody in a few years. But what do you do about what do you have as your plans for security of yourself, security of your property? How do you look at that? Because that's a very important thing. I mean, you can't, once you're there and you're going to be part of it, you can't just always run down to the consulate, U.S. consulate, and say, help me, right? Especially when it comes to crime issues. That's what I'm thinking about, because it's not so much a terrorist thing, but a crime thing. So, what have you
Mhm.
thought about that?
Well, at this point here, I mean, we have, as far as having being a citizen, we'll still have the same rights to security as well as the rest of this is what I'm being told, and that's one thing that we through the ADDI will be looking to purchase land for together collaboratively to where we'll have our own diaspora community,
Mm-hmm.
and with the security that has been promised from the embassy or whoever whatever department that is, because I don't deal with all that. But we're supposed to be having the same type of security that all the citizens are afforded. So at this point here, um, I'm not looking to move over there right away. I just want to get my permanent residency, and basically, um, my focus right now, because I already have the better footing over in Ghana, and already have my houses in place. So I'm more comfortable there, and I know people there too, until more of us from the diaspora, we come together, and hopefully we'll make some good relationships while I'm there, and we'll work it out. I think I don't think we're going to have any issues with that.
Okay. Well, I just would encourage you, if you decide to live in Burkina Faso, really pay attention to the security. They have divisions of the old ISIS is still there, and they have Jamaat. They have quite a few Islamic groups that are um, they're loosely tied to ISIS, and so you have to be very cautious with this situation. You don't want to wind up in a situation where you're by yourself or with a small group, and next thing you know, people are kidnapped or other kind of things happen to them. And And that even happens, I was just warned that when you look to the local police departments, you'll find that inside those police departments, there's some of those same elements because they're cousins and friends of the people who are the bad boys, right? In the bad situation. So be careful. Be very careful. I don't know how you guys do, but I always used to buy cheap knockoff Rolex watches, stuff like that, so I can always get out of the situation. Hey man, take my Rolex, so to get out of the situation, right? And that between that and carrying myself a nice knife that nobody can see because you can't get the guns. Nice knife, so I can go ahead and do what I had to do if I had to get out of a situation. Sometimes I had to get out of a situation. So anyway, be careful, or as my grandmama used to say, be careful, stay prayerful.
There you go. I appreciate you. Yeah,
Amen.
and that's one thing too. And I do appreciate your encouragement and concern too. Because one thing, wherever I go, it's like I used to tell my husband, because when I'm I'm a nurse, so I used to travel as well, and I've gone to Alaska on a rainforest there, and there wasn't very many of us there. Maybe I think five black folks out of all the rest of them folks. But at any rate, I'm just thankful because he's like, and my kids too is like, Mom, you okay? I'm like, I'm fine. I'm not here by myself. I don't travel by myself anytime because I always seek the protection of the ancestors to go with me, and they're always there. Even when I was in Ghana in 2019, and was able to build relationships and still, feel pretty comfortable when I go, and haven't had any problems. Didn't have any problems when I was there in Alaska. Everybody was friendly. So hopefully, I'm still with that mindset, seeking this week, to get myself all prayed up and, build my immunity and everything. So with the same breath, I'll go with divine protection as well as, the relationships that I build. And so hopefully, and I thank you, prayers are always needed. So thanks for asking.
Yes, definitely be careful. Go
Yes,
ahead,
sir.
Leroy.
Yes, and Mike, I need to get back on your schedule again. So I know you had a way to set up appointments. You had an email or something where you could set up appointments time.
Yeah, in fact, let me put the link in the chat. Give me one moment. There. So the link is in the chat if anybody needs to schedule a Zoom meeting with me.
I will be calling you and scheduling a meeting too, Mike, when I get back.
Okay.
Thank you.
Leroy, you got the, excuse me, do you have the link that I pasted? Leroy, do you have the did you get the link?
I was on mute. Yes, I have it.
Okay. All right, great. All right. Well, y'all, that's it. I want to thank you guys for coming. We're here every Sunday, 5 p.m. on the West Coast, 8 p.m. on the East Coast. And each week we'll be talking about a different topic that affects the Black community economically. Until next week, stay blessed and stay safe. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, good night. Take care.